Hello, hello. Welcome to episode number, which is 125 of the Titanforge podcast. Is it 125? I feel like that was last week's. Yeah. Now this time, it was Tettles' fault, not mine. So welcome back, Kate. How's it going, you two?
You got me looking at the thumbnail, making sure that I put 126 on the thumbnail too, as well. Thumbnail's good.
So this week we have a shortish show, probably not going to go for too long. We'll just cover how the first week has been, the first couple days of the heroic week, which for me, this is when the patch kind of really starts kicking in. I don't know about you guys, but like several times last week in the new patch, I didn't want, there was nothing to do, so I logged out of WoW, which is quite weird. I don't know about you two, like during last week before heroic week started.
Well, I mean, during like BFA and Legion, that was like a thing that you did. Like, you would be doing daily sometimes. You'd be doing daily sometimes. Even on Argus, like you would have like an hour or so of dailies to do just to farm the Argulite or whatever that stuff was called. Then you could just log out.
Dude, what do you mean? There was a new invasion point every 2 hours. You had to go to sleep right after doing an invasion point and make sure you woke up within 8 hours so you could catch that new invasion point before it despawned.
For what? My legendaries that I already had all of?
No, so you could get relinquished unstable Arcano Crystal from the trinket vendor,
so you
man.
could, yeah,
you're also the type of guy to farm 100 chests on the Broken Shore as
well,
aren't you?
Yeah, Broken Shore. You gotta get all your chests, man. Gotta get your nether shards.
Okay, so for normal people, that's like a thing that you would just be able to log out and only play for like an hour a day anyways. It's only been like this expansion where you've needed to play 12 hours a day.
Yeah. To be clear, I'm very glad that Zereth Mortis is not Korthia and is not the Maw, and you don't have to do 100% of the rares to be theoretically optimal for your character. But
me too.
To me, it did kind of highlight I don't know, it's just weird that the new patch week is not the most exciting week, and it's instead either the week after or even the week after that that's kind of when the patch really gets going. Like, I wonder if that first week is kind of vestigial now and could be cut and just go straight into heroic week.
I think that they could cut I actually like the buffer between the raid opening, like the patch hitting and the raid opening. I think that they could instantly implement like the Mythic Plus seasonal affix and PvP though if they really wanted to. I don't think that there's a reason for those to be gated a week.
Yeah, people suggest that, but the problem is like they have to do that, the gear capping and stuff. So or it would be a case that like you would get better gear than raid if you could farm better gear from raid from those sources. Like that was Emerald Nightmare, right? Was you just had full heroic gear from doing Mythic Plus that first week.
That was also a mistake, but I think that it could be like on like this week's gear schedule from... Okay, so for PvP, it would be... You'd have to be very careful. But at least for Mythic Plus, it could be on like this week's gear schedule where it's like 10s are locked. Like the maximum eye level you can get from End of Dungeon Reward is 255. That's like kind of fine, even though it's like slightly better than Mythic Sanctum. And then like... You don't necessarily have to amp up the vault past that either. I guess it's probably more work to code through.
I feel like it's actually in a good spot, but the hype is just around the wrong week. Like they mark the dead week as the beginning of the patch, whereas I feel like if they just said this is the pre-patch week and then the real patch was on heroic release or heroic raid week, that's the real patch, then it would just be a totally different game.
That could work. Yeah, just instead of having last week be patch 9.2, have it be like patch 9.1.9.
Yeah, something like that. Just
this week is 9.2 week.
9.1.9.
I do kind of like, I do. It just feels like the hype. There's a lot of people who like come in hyped and then it's like it peters out in that first week when it shouldn't, because there's exciting more stuff to come, but it just feels like there's not yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, this week there is a lot to do. There's a tremendous incentive to fill out 9 slots in your Great Vault if you're somebody who's interested in getting the biggest chance of seeing tier pieces as possible, because all 9 of those slots can have tier in them. So that is something I've been going for is trying to make sure I get all 9 of those slots, which means doing player versus player combat.
Yeah. You definitely want to be doing PvP combat. but it's like you only really need like 1600 or hopefully
1800 would be better, but yeah, 1600 is more realistic.
Yeah. So, oh, fuck. Like you really only need 1600, and then just to fill out your honor.
Even 1400, and just fill out the honor with like 1400 is 259, 1600 is 262. There's not a big difference there, and 1400 is way easier. Like 1400, you will get it eventually by just queuing.
Side note, MMR inflation. If you are looking to PvP this season, MMR inflation fucking sucks. Like, you are going to be playing some really sweaty games at like 1600 rating for no reason.
Yeah, there's also, besides PvP, there's the Heroic Raid and Mythic Plus, which are our main topics this week. We will be talking about those two as kind of the primary focus of the show. And we'll start off with Heroic Sepulcher, the first ones. The story here so far is that as of Thursday, we do only have 2 guilds that have defeated Mythic or Heroic Anduin. Then we have, I actually don't know how many guilds now are, I guess we can find out up here, 200 and something guilds on 7 out of 11. Another 211 or 220 on 6 out of 11. So, yeah.
Yeah, Anduin's a hard boss. Like, I don't know the statistics on Thursday of Heroic Week for the last 2 tiers, but I want to say they were similar but not quite as skewed.
Yeah,
that's easy to look at.
I forgot what July 8th was last year. Let me go take a look at a calendar. Okay, so July 8th of last year was when World First Heroic Sylvanas was achieved by Aster, and that was also Thursday. So we had Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. So only 6 guilds did it by Friday on Sylv.
So that's actually about the same.
But this is the 8th boss at the instance, I think.
Yes. So, I mean, I think the main thing is, like, Anduin is shaping up to be, I think it's harder than Sire Heroic was. I don't know what December 10th, 2020 was. Let me scroll.
I think you're right about
that.
I think it's harder than Sylv was, honestly. The fact that both Limit and Echo, Liquid and Echo, those are the 2 guilds that have killed the boss so far. They had to run a fairly optimized composition, and they cut down to like 20 mains. That is not something they even did for Sylvanas. Like, Sylvanas was hard AF, but they didn't like run full mains on the boss to initially kill it or anything.
Yeah, so the thing is, you don't have to kill this with splits, because you can't trade anything that drops on the first time you kill this boss on Heroic anyways. So the only reason you're killing it on Heroic on alts is to enable them to trade the normal difficulty tier from that boss or from future weeks. So what you can do is you can like ferry alts through it. You can have your mains killing Anduin 10 times this week, and each of those times you can have a small, like, 2 alts or something in, or you can adjust that ratio as you see fit to let you get that in the splits environment. So that is what's enabled Liquid and Echo to do mostly mains killing Anduin.
I think that in addition to that, like, getting we talked about the vault. Making sure that you have all 8 bosses killed on Heroic on as many characters as possible is very important for them.
Yeah, they really want to try and maximize the tier for their potential mains and for their mains, because there are certainly players or even characters that may or may not see play based on how good the gearing is out of this week. And then they also want to maximize tradability for the alts as well. So,
did they say... Do either of you guys know why they killed Anduin off stream? Liquid did yesterday?
I don't know. I would assume they have some idea for Mythic that they want to hide, because like Heroic strats aren't the most secret thing. Echo went ahead and streamed the whole thing. I think the only thing that was surprising to me from my guild's like very limited amount of knowledge compared to their VOD of the kill was like that they sent in only a couple people into the Kingsmorn realm for the second round each time. Like, just little things like that were kind of surprises, but who knows? Maybe Liquid has some crazy strat that nobody knows about.
Somebody in chat says that they potentially wanted to hide some weak auras.
Yeah, that could make sense. Weak auras are the kind of thing that if Echo saw the functionality of a really useful weak aura now, they could use useful time. Like, they could recreate it over the next couple days. The thing is, there's not too much of an incentive for Liquid in particular to hide even Mythic Anduin strats, because the assumption is they will be ahead by the time they get to Anduin, right? And they will stream that because contractually, like, they're running a Race to World First event, right? So unless they get there with like at 10 p.m. and they can like shut off streams and do an hour of prog at the end of the night. Like they're gonna stream their Anduin prog, right? So
Yeah.
If there are going to be bosses that streams are going to be turned off for, it's going to be Lords of Dread and Ragolon.
Maybe, yeah.
Those are going to be the bosses that the streams will be turned off for, because like right after Anduin, you're able to go to either direction, and if one of the guilds like kills it overnight, and you don't know which boss they're on, and then the second guild kills it the next day, they don't really want to stream because they also don't know which boss the other guild is pulling.
Well, they don't want to stream, but they will unless it's like the only case where either the guilds is going to be able to not stream is if it's like right at the end of their raid day and they can sneak in an hour after the stream's closed. Like they're not going to turn off their streams midway through the event. Like that happened a little bit during Castle Nathria when Echo did it, but with the way the Race to World First events are now, I'm pretty sure that neither guild can just unilaterally turn off their streams because it'll be helpful for Prague in the middle of the day. We'll see though. Maybe if they really think they can, they'll go for it. But yeah, it should be a really interesting World First race to see which of those two bosses they pull first, how much they like commit to trying to do Lords of Dread or Raglan versus how much they work on the other ones.
Speaking of the weak auras though, with these Race to World First events, since weak auras can now be loaded into your UI without closing and reopening the game, you just have to reload your UI. I saw that they're like dropping the files into each player's computer at the same time, like all 26 raiders or whatever, and then they just like have a message for them to reload their UI on their
screen. What do
you
mean by dropping the
like
file?
they're remoting into the desktop?
So you can mass deploy just like a weak aura file to all your raiders' computers at the exact same time, so you can just dynamically update their weak auras. That's awesome.
God, that's so smart. Yeah, that's a huge benefit to having everybody be like on the same network, right? As you can just
that wastes so little time compared to like, all right, make sure everyone does this, and if one person's missing, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Charles, this being your daytime occupation, can you please tell us about the security risks of doing such a thing?
That's totally fine if they're all on the same network. Never mind. This is way too into my profession.
Yeah, Trell, can you make a weak aura that I can share to people that when they open a mailbox, it mails me all of their gold?
Probably.
that was
a real thing last
Yeah, that was a real weak aura once.
Dude, there have been guilds that got their full guild disbanded via weak auras before.
Amazing.
Yeah, someone imported a weak aura and it just disbanded the guild instantly. I remember
it was
that.
Vision in Tomb.
One name that you don't see here on the top 20 of Heroic yet, but probably will be one of the ones to kill Anduin in the pretty near future, is going to be Pieces, or as they're now called, SK Pieces. That's right. Pieces, the World Third Guild right now, has joined SK Gaming, which you may remember that SK Gaming had a WoW guild back in TBC.
That's right, yeah. Killed like Somo Plateau, Muru or something.
Yeah, Muru, like KJ or something.
And
now they are sponsoring Pieces, and Pieces has an announcement as well tomorrow, maybe a Race to World First event, perhaps. So that should be pretty cool.
Super cool for them.
Yeah. Big congratulations to Pieces on securing that sponsor, and hopefully their whatever announcement they have tomorrow is extremely cool as well. All right, we have some other news related to Heroic, which is a series of nerfs that have come through already. And I think this is a good just discussion point about the difficulty of the bosses. So Anduin has already received, before Liquid killed it, it received this Befouled Barrier nerf. And then I think also before Liquid and Echo killed it, it got another set of nerfs here to a bunch of the mechanics. Although this may have been right after.
I think it was right
around. It was right around when Liquid killed it. I don't know which side of the kill it was.
But
yeah, I mean, it's still quite a challenging boss. This is like a 10, 11 minute heroic
almost
boss.
11 minute.
And it's not like Sylvanas 11 minutes heroic, where it's like you're watching cutscenes and you're traveling across a bridge. Like this is 11 minutes of like of nonstop action against an actual boss encounter, not fighting Mossworn on a bridge. So
the pace is really good in that fight. Like you're just constantly doing something important, and it changes all the time too. It's never the same set of mechanics over and over.
I've seen some people commenting on like in just like sometimes complaining about, oh, this is too long of a boss fight. I think more often than not, I have an issue with longer fights, like in the 10 to 11 minute range, whenever they are kind of like the Sylvanas 10 to 11 minutes, where it's a lot of time of you not doing anything.
N'Zoth killing like, Tendies and Psychus.
Yeah, this feels like a fast 10-minute boss in the way that the only way that it can be a fast 10-minute boss, where you're always doing mechanics and the setups are super nice. I do worry about the like re-killing of this encounter once you do start to have more gear, because some of the timings for when you want to push out of intermissions, there's definitely advantageous timings for when you want to push out of intermissions on Anduin to make sure that you're not getting the Star Augur mechanic on you. So that may suck later on if you have to stop DPS during the intermission to push out at the correct time. But as it currently stands right now for Prague, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool boss. I don't know. I was skeptical. I was skeptical of the claims that Anduin was going to be like. They were saying that like in any other raid, Anduin could be an end boss, right? And I was like, nah, there's no way they're going to put that, third from last, fourth from last. But they absolutely have. It looks like
could be an end boss.
Yeah, so
like the Echo Kill VOD, I watched it this morning on one of their players' channels, and at the end of the fight, I mean, they're popping immunes, and half the raid dies, and they're like basically on the softened rage, killing the boss as Echo, and it's a heroic boss. It's like that's extremely difficult for a heroic boss.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's fairly likely that it will not survive till reset without another round of nerfs. But I don't know. I mean, Sylvanas didn't get nerfed until after the first reset, and it was only 80 guilds killed Sylvanas heroic AOTC week 1.
Shit, I don't even know if 80 guilds can kill Anduin. The
problem I don't know. Yeah, I think maybe it'd be like 20 in this state, something like that.
Dude, if my guild was pulling this boss, I'm pretty sure we got to put like 90 pulls in on this fight for us to kill it or something. Like, it's killable, especially in the current gear. But also part of it too is like you can make the claim that it's probably going to get nerfed by 4-piece 2 legendary, but I'm pretty sure this fight does not get that much easier to where it's the 8th boss in heroic at 4-piece 2 legendary level.
I mean, 20 item levels plus 4-piece plus 2 legendary. Like we're going to be doing like 50% more damage than we currently are.
It is a hard fight due to like it is a mechanically difficult fight and a very hard healing check, and it requires a level of coordination just in regards to like what healing cooldowns and what DPS cooldowns are set up at a specific time. It's not like a normal heroic encounter.
Right. It's still, I mean, it's going to get nerfed a huge amount.
Solve a lot of the mechanics on that fight by a lot, though. Like the barriers are hard, and like higher gear for healers will totally eliminate that.
And higher health totals on the raid and everything. As we like, I mean, 26 item levels and double legendaries and for like by the time guilds that reach heroic Anduin in 2 months, even if they reach it in this state, like it will be achievable for them. Even with like way less than the Echo skill, because they will be like 50% stronger per player. Like that does a huge amount. But yeah, guilds that are trying to kill it this week, next week, the week after, like the double legendary and 4 set are a long way away, especially for guilds that don't do split runs. Guilds that don't do split runs, like 4 sets across most of your raiders that could be a month away.
So this is the 3rd tier in a row that we're having this conversation. I feel like I'm having deja vu all over again. Should heroic be this difficult?
I think if they hotfixed Anduin if they hotfixed it again before the end of the week, like today or tomorrow, I think that'd be okay. I think if they left it this way for the rest of the week, it's still a little bit too hard overall, in my opinion. But the rest of the raid felt great so far up until Anduin.
I like the rest of the raid.
I will say I've enjoyed a lot of the encounters. The tuning has been kind of all over the place. Like the first boss on heroic is an absolute. It's a walk in the park to the point where like you feel like you're doing legacy content doing it. Like it's like there's no mechanics that present any danger to you.
Yeah,
then
actually that one feels like a +10 key.
Also fairly easy. And then Prototype Pantheon is like mid-tier, maybe not mid-tier, but early mythic boss levels of like DPS and HPS check. And then Lahuvim again is like, moderately difficult heroic boss, pretty cakewalky for a cutting edge guild. And then you go over to the other side and it's like Skolex dies in a pull. Like if you wiped Skolex, something weird happened if you're a guild that could kill Prototype Pantheon. And then you got Artificer, and Artificer's like okay, we need to learn this intricate dance, and there's this mechanic that one-shots you if you don't do it, and you got to do this dance right like 5 times, and you got to bait the traps in the right spots 6 times throughout the fight. And then you go do Halandris, and Halandris is also like I think Halandris is my favorite of the fights so far.
Is awesome.
Yeah,
I like that fight. That's a sick fight.
It's also like the single target boss. There's always a single target boss, just no ads. Period. That's a really good single target boss.
It's a sweet single target fight as well because it's like a single target movement intensive melee friendly fight, which those are not 3 characteristics that have been present on the same boss basically ever before. So it's very
I was
cool.
just looking at the top Halandris logs earlier, and every single top 50 parse is a rogue.
Yeah.
And all of them are sub rogues except for one outlaw rogue.
Oh, let's go.
Oh shit, Dreadus, we're getting tweeted at again.
Yeah.
I remember last week whenever I was like, dude, I don't understand what is the difficulty of Prototype Pantheon. I feel very foolish. I understand the difficulty of that fight now. I really do understand where it's coming from, and it's all through the Night Fae individual that just pulses AoE on you and owns you.
Oh, you mean the Venthyr Burden of Sin stacks?
It's the Venthyr Burden to Sin stacks, and then it's just like the Night Fae seeds are happening at the exact same time, so your healers...
Oh, yeah, your healers are busy
like,
on the seeds.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so you're like
That was a hard
dying.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Off my group for a little bit. I think we had like 4 or 5 wipes on it.
So, like, I enjoyed each of those different fights. I mostly enjoyed, of course, the hard... Like, Halandris was really fun, actually, to do. But it was still the kind... Like, it wasn't like a consistently high difficulty curve, right? It was more like a... difficulty all over the place, right? Like some of these bosses are easier than normal bosses for
true.
last tier, and then some of them are mythic difficulty-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that overall, like, I like Anduin as an encounter. I think that fight fucking owns. And I really think it's going to be a great boss on Mythic, and I suspect that the difficulty of the raid is going to be super good on Mythic if Heroic is any indication of how the raid is going to be shaking up. At the same time, I don't think that Anduin is in the right spot difficulty-wise. I think it needs to get chopped down a bit. If nothing
we were
more
talking
than...
before the show, and it's like comparable to Mythic Painsmith difficulty right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely... I mean, I don't know. I'm sure that a lot of guilds will be able to do it this week if it remains unnerfed, right? But guilds will have, like... I mean, it's not like guilds... A lot of guilds that could have been spending their time progressing it haven't been as well, right? Like they've just been going and doing other stuff instead. And so as we get done with today and tomorrow, and guilds start being done with all of their normal and heroic other bosses and stuff, like, and they just start progressing Anduin, like, you will see the boss die even if it doesn't get nerfed. But I think that with the way that it looked, I wouldn't be surprised to see it get nerfed again soon.
Yeah. So I think just generally my overall thoughts on the instance are like really good bosses. They all feel very unique and feel like they can be difficult in their own ways, which is not something that I feel like we have in a lot of raid instances. It feels like there's just kind of some bosses that don't really do anything or aren't like that great sometimes, but I feel like there's a lot of incredibly good fights here. Way too much fucking trash. Way too much fucking trash.
Every single trash pack like knocks you back into Narnia too. It's just, oh, come on.
Did you guys see the JB tweet?
What did he tweet?
About he put up a poll and was like, if you would like, would you prefer all trash to be removed from instant?
Yeah, okay, I saw. Yeah, it was like 75% wanted all trash gone, 25%.
What did you guys think?
I don't think that all trash needs to go, but I do think Sepulcher trash is some of the most offensive that we've seen in a long time.
Here's a tweet if you want to pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like trash could be cut in half and I'd be happy. But not all of it gone.
Well, the thing is, like, we're going to skip this trash, and we would skip this trash if there was half as much, and it's skippable. But it's like, just like, like for the guilds that don't skip trash, like, do they really need more of their time penalized? Like, it's already wrong to not skip trash. It doesn't need to be wronger.
I think that I would be sad if all trash was removed. I do think that there's like something just kind of cool about there being trash in a raid instance generally.
I think they should remove most of the trash and then make the remaining trash cool and mandatory, and like leave it there is what I would do. Like leave the the mini boss before Lehuvim, right? That you gotta kill that like that kind of trash. The little trash gauntlet after the first boss, like you make it. You leave that kind of stuff, and then just the like there are 50 platforms of moss swarm that you can skip. It's like, okay, you know, what are we doing here?
The whole Artificer Halandris Skull-X wing is just all of this lightning trash that you're death running every single time. You're like, what is this?
Right. Which again, like I mean, I'm fine with it. Feel like if one of the ways that kind of feels like a raid, right, is there's just like massive hordes of enemies that are there, but I don't know. I do think it is unfortunate the extent to which it makes it even more important to skip trash, which is like, I don't think the play pattern that should be encouraged, and and I also wouldn't want to be forced to kill all of that trash either.
Also, little did we know that we were going to be getting infinite rep from the raid.
Yeah,
you're very ahead on reputation now.
Yeah,
I'm so happy about this. I can do less dailies.
Yeah, the rep from raid is phenomenal. Absolutely. It's only like you get like 1,000 from a full clear or something, but still, I mean, that goes a long way towards if you do like most of the raid for the next couple weeks, that's like doing it's like an extra 2 weeklies or something over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot of additional rep. It will help you if you were taking multiple days off. If you were only doing dailies like 3 days a week or something like that, you'll probably be fine on your rep even.
All right, let's move on to tip of the week. My tip of the week is there are 2 things in Tazavesh that are really good to stun. The Scale Binders in Upper Tazavesh cast Invigorating Fish Stick, stun that, and the Defective Sorters in Lower Tazavesh cast Open Cage, stun that.
The chickens?
Yeah. Stunning both of those will make your life a lot easier in those 2 dungeons.
Yeah, the ones in the one that he just mentioned, the chicken cast, Open Cage, it opens a cage and just releases a bunch of like.
There's actually a couple different things it can release.
Really?
There's a chicken cage, and there's a cage that just makes like an extra a creature that joins the fight but doesn't give count.
It gives count. Wait, does it not?
I don't think it gives count. I'm not sure.
Oh, shit.
I didn't even know it existed, so we're 50-50 on that one.
Yeah, if it gives count, then you could potentially not stun this if you want that count, but I didn't think it gave count.
Trell, if you're interested, you can also open the cages manually yourself and get stunned by the chicken by on your own.
Oh yeah, so if you need the count, you can do that as well.
There's no count. That's just getting stunned.
Oh, okay. Legendary.
No count involved.
But yeah, the fish stick cast in Upper Tazavesh, that's from the Scalebinder Murloc, right?
Yeah.
That one, on 15s, you can pretty much just stun them once as soon as they start casting, and then after that, they're supposed to recast it, but they'll also try to run in fear when they're low health. So since it's like kind of a low key, you're gonna get them to the run in fear threshold pretty quick. So 1 stun should be good enough.
Yeah, maybe 2 unfortified. We'll see though. Yeah, they will cast it when they stop fleeing as well. If they get like 40 yards away, and then they cast a fish stick at 10% health and then run back, and they're healing up as they run back, which is very annoying.
That is so annoying. The run in fear is actually the hardest part of that whole area.
Absolutely. Which
actually leads into my tip. We can just
go for it. Yeah.
My tip is choose the left side of that entire Murloc area in Upper Tazavesh because you've got the water right there, and there's far less giant patrols, and the giants are basically like void emissaries from BFA season 3. If anyone played that season, many did not play that season for the reason of void emissaries being there. So try to avoid the giants, and you want to pull the Murlocs like as far away from other creatures as you can, and you want to have stuff to slow them and stop them from running, like Binding Shot, stuns, Ring of Peace, Vortex, all really good tools for that whole area.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're kind of in for a rough time, I think, if you don't go left.
I agree completely. I endorse that for sure, and it's nice because just like half of them will run into the water, and it's so much easier than the other way.
Yeah, and like if they run into the water, you don't even have to do anything. You can just let them run.
Yeah, just don't follow them into the water because a shark will eat you. So stay.
Oh, is there a shark debuff? I haven't tested.
Yeah, if you get out to like the open water part where there's no land just beneath you, like you can get in the ankle water, but you can't get into the sea.
Gotcha.
All right, Tettles, what is the clip of the week you have for us here today?
Oh, dude, it's that. Nobody's immune to Moonkin Brain, apparently.
We do.
It's not even.
Yeah, so Tank, you know what to do, and then it's, that trap is fucking bad.
I'm pretty sure this is Lighty's
Yeah.
POV. It's,
Yeah, you should do it every single time we're like.
Ben,
running
I'm
again.
Jeans.
Spread for
which
Spark Nova.
Almost has to be a
So
Lighty
for now,
character.
stay to the right of this. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The Devil's Effect strikes
Pi-
again.
Yeah, that's just anybody playing Moonkin. That can happen too.
It could happen. It could happen to anybody.
For anybody, any listeners, Lady just disengaged off the edge of the Artificer room. It was only like a couple inches higher than a really good disengage would have been. But yeah, that's I like these clips as well because I think these sorts of things help show as well that like those sorts of errors happen to just everybody, right? Lighty's, I think, pretty universally regarded as one of the very best at like just the game. And yeah, he's just those sorts of things can happen there too. So hopefully that can make everybody feel.
You know, speaking of jumping off edges, the movement speed buff in Mythic Plus this season is going to get so many people killed by jumping off edges, especially in places like the last boss of Sanguine, where if you have that buff, if you jump any direction, you're gone.
I actually used Woe to skip the like last 2 packs of Sanguine and get into that boss room as well. I think a pretty good spot to use it. Yeah,
That actually is a good spot.
yeah, because there's one on the very last pack there of the gauntlet, so that could absolutely come up.
Also, the fact that they changed that buff from 20 to 60 seconds of Shroud is so nice, and the full movement speed is so good.
I actually think that like there was almost nothing that so with 20 seconds of Shroud, if you timed it perfectly, you were basically going to be able to skip the same thing as you were going to skip with like 60 seconds of Shroud, so you may as well just amp it all the way up, and I think that they did a really good job. It feels super useful whenever you are playing in like a non-coordinated group or potentially a group without a rogue that you're able to just or DOS. Where you're able to just kind of go wherever you want to.
We were talking about some bosses. Some bosses' movement speed is really good for too, like the post boss in Lower Tazavesh. You can carry the bombs to the
That's
air
a good tip
ducts,
as
whatever
well.
they're called, really, really fast.
Have any of you guys done a Theater of Pain this week?
Yes.
Yes, I've done 2 Theaters of Pain.
Did you guys have progression moments on Zav?
No.
I got shit on by Zav.
Were you tanking?
I was tanky, but it wasn't me dying. It was like the having to deal with the Demolisher with the banner up.
Oh, you got stunned. I see.
I did get stunned.
I do remember rolling out of that at some point.
But I did get shit on it.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
What have you guys been killing? Like you've been killing on bosses or Vi?
Yeah, I think is still the best damage output one.
I don't know. I feel like Vi is generally going to be more damage than
It depends on your comp.
But yeah, it will depend on your comp.
I think I'd rather take Vi sometimes, but it's usually to be honest. But the problem with Vi is you have to deal with that dang sniper during the boss fight. And a lot of boss fights, that's just not very fun.
Yeah,
To try to position on top of him.
Your subtlety rogue and your frost mage really want the relic though.
Yeah, if you're playing with those, they got quite a bit of value from it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, well, the problem is
CDR.
Ur doesn't reduce all abilities cooldown. Still, it's kind of bugged. I think. I don't think.
I've heard
intended, at
DPS
least.
players about that to me as well. That like it's not
sub rogues
working.
symbols is not reduced at all. It just stays. The
Yeah, like
exact same
symbols,
CD.
Fire Blast, Dragons, Phoenix Flames or something. My tinfoil is that it's spells that don't have a cooldown but have a recharge aren't getting
recharge
benefit.
or multiple charge. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's just tinfoil. So
I think you're right. I've heard that several times now.
yeah, either way, dude. The other thing, if you're on Zav and you kill the as people are downstairs, they'll have 10% health per second and they won't be able to kill each other until is over.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
So you got to be careful about timing it on that fight.
Some of them with bosses are really hard too. Like the Ur tank guy on last boss of Plaguefall will overlap his tank smash with the encounter tank soak.
Okay.
So you got to be real careful about that. Like you gotta like have 1 foot in the soak and maybe move over at the last second just in case.
Yeah, you got to like
The
rune of
problem
power.
is like the Vice sniper is also just so cringe to kill on a bunch of bosses. Like, if you played it on the last boss of Plaguefall, the sniper is going to go across the room, and you're not. What are you
I mean,
gonna
you
do?
could
Like,
just unironically choose Woe on that fight. get a DR, get movement speed to zip around the whole place.
Yeah, it's really not that okay.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest one to kill, right?
It's not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem with Vi just generally is the sniper is not the easiest mob to kill because of the teleport.
Yeah, exactly.
It is the most like generally good buff. Like it doesn't require anything else to make the buff good, but it is the most annoying mob to kill for sure.
Okay, the mana regen and the HP regen on is OP.
That is, yeah, if your healer needs mana, don't get because you're teaching them a bad lesson. And when the next seasonal affix comes out that doesn't have mana regen, they will thank you for having never given them mana regen this season, so that they've got.
We've had mana regen. We've had
That's
mana
true.
regen 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah, I know. Their healers are all going to be soft when we get to the next expansion.
Can we get a power that makes healers do like 70% more damage or something for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Just the healer roll.
No, man.
Just the healer roll.
That'll make healer life so much more degenerate. They're just going to be encouraged to do more damage and less healing.
You just play 4 healers, 1 tank.
Charles just looking for one fucking heal.
Yeah.
Tired of these H pals, man.
Yeah, the problem as well
Can't
is
heal you. It'll take 17 GCDs to heal you. I might as well spend 3 GCDs to kill the pack instead.
like when you're playing with somebody that played Paladin in a previous season, and then now they're playing like Resto Shaman. Like you can take them off Paladin, but you can't take the Paladin out of their hearts, right? They're just there like casting Lightning Bolt when you're at 20% health, and you're like, man, please.
Bro, I see you chain lightning. Why don't you just fucking heal me? One Riptide.
Yeah. Okay, so new affix in general, I think for me it's a big thumbs up. It is like I've heard some pug complaints, particularly I think like Vi teleporting around sometimes is getting people into trouble. And I think a lot of pugs are defaulting to Vi because it's the easiest and most obviously good buff.
This just came to me. Sorry to interrupt you, but if they made Vi, you know how it jumps out and does the beam attack?
Yeah.
Right after that, if they made it run for like 3 seconds back to the pack and then start resuming its auto shoot, that would just like totally fix that, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, also sometimes like if you're fighting in a place with elevation, it's very hard to see the line that the Vi makes. Like if the Vi is 5 meters above the rest of the ground or something, because it teleports up a hill, you won't see the line that it's making too.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
I think those are causing some people to feel like the affix is more punishing. But also like I think in some spots you just shouldn't choose Vi because Vi will be hard in that pull. And like you should choose the relic not just based on the buff you want, but also based on the automa you want to fight, which to me that's like fantastic for the affixed.
There are a lot of pulls where if you accidentally got the Woe Drifter and he starts casting Burst in the middle of the pack, you're like, I guess I'll die?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have any kicks? Ooh, unlucky.
I had some guildies who had some negative things to say about the seasonal affix, but I don't really get it because I actually kind of like it, but it could just be because I'm a Mythic Plus rat that I enjoy seasonal affix like this.
Yeah, this might be like the M+ers affix, right? Where it's like M+ers like it and normies hate it. I don't know.
Well, I like it for both coordinated groups and for running my guildies through keys too, because I could just choose the Woe relic every time and shroud through stuff. Before you kind of have to like make sure everyone has invis pods, make sure everyone knows how to do this little skip that you want to do, but now you can just kill the thing and go.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, like a Necrotic Wake, you can use it to get second boss. Just like most shroud skips are possible with Woe. DOS in particular, dude, DOS you can do some degen stuff with Woe. It's nice. Like you can skip the whole way into the Mana Storm, and then you can skip back out again as well when you jump back down to the pipe. You kill that one pack there with the Woe, and you skip back out. Oh.
That's a great idea, actually. You just go straight to Mana Storms, and then when you go to the oil pack, kill the oils.
Yeah.
And then do the boss, you come out, and then you just do the dog and the...
Yeah, you get the Woe from that.
Right there.
And then you skip past the drill again using the Woe on the way out, too.
That's great.
Yep, that's Dratnos right.
All right. I have a 15 DOS. I'm gonna be yoinking that. That's a yoink.
Yeah. The other DOS one I have is you Woe from the first pack to Ardenweld, and then you leave the pack that has the relics at the start of Ardenweld, and you kill them after you kill the boss, and you get the Woe there again as well, and you just use that to zoom back out through the hallway too.
So wait, are you actually just slamming woe on CD?
Yeah, I was slamming.
DOS? Is that
I'm
what you're
slamming
actually
4
doing?
woes in DOS. I'm
Okay.
less convinced on the Ardenworld one being worth, but it's fun, so I'm doing it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if that's worth, but it sounds great.
Yeah,
I think the first one might be worth that you just mentioned.
I do think.
From the start.
Yeah. I
That
think that
Mechagon
one's
Wing
good.
has always been a bannable offense, though.
How have you guys been feeling about Tazavesh? Tazavesh 2 M+ dungeons. So I guess let's start by talking about Streets of Wonder, which, if anybody's looking, I've got a video on the Warcraft YouTube.
I watched this video.
Yeah.
Honestly, I liked it.
Yeah, it's like a 5-minute quick guide to the dungeon using the same picture I sent
You
them
look
like
very
4 years
solemn.
ago.
You're like,
Dude,
welcome to Tazavesh. You're gonna die.
Okay,
yeah.
so I've only done this dungeon ever with Trell and had positive experiences. And so, but I knew that it was impossibly hard if you were in a group that wasn't coordinated and had never done it before. And so I am vehemently refusing to run the dungeon until like I come back from Race to World First or something like that.
It is, I mean, Streets is pretty hard right now. I think I failed my first Streets with a guild run on Tuesday. I timed one yesterday with like 4 out of 5 Mythic Plusers in the group, and that was still kind of tight. Like we only had a couple minutes left doing a pretty fast route that I made.
Yeah,
But,
in general, 15s are not like a guaranteed. I feel like last patch, I felt like 18s, 19s. Like if you were a group that could time 100% of plus 18 runs you did, I don't think you necessarily can time 100% of plus 15s this season. Like it's oh, Discord. Discord has crashed for me once again.
As you were saying,
Oh, yes, very cool. Poggers.
on Discord owns the
Poggers.
greatest VoIP service of our time.
Why is it, dude? It only does this during when I'm recording this podcast as well.
It's because your video is on.
Okay.
I don't know what is wrong with Discord with video being on.
So cool.
It
Yeah,
cracks me
anyways.
up, man.
So, just in regards to the scaling of the dungeons this season, I know Squishy's right now working on an article about it. I'm gonna leak a little bit of information. The Titanforge exclusive dungeons,
God.
and there will probably, by the time the show goes live on YouTube and stuff like that, there will definitely be a post on it. Dungeons are apparently 5 levels higher instead of the typical 3. So 15s are equivalent to 20s. Plus, you have the new seasonal affix to deal with, and it's not an easy tyrannical week. The tyrannical
That's
bosses
true.
bang.
Bolstering explosive. We didn't even talk about bolstering yet. The bolstering
Dude.
change where bosses aren't affected anymore. That is so good.
And
I've
the
been
fact
waiting
that
for that for years.
Was this on the PTR? Did this go so under the
No.
radar that we didn't
No,
know?
that was-
the boss
definitely
thing was a
just
hot fix, like on Tuesday. Yeah. But yeah, bosses and boss mobs don't get affected by bolstering anymore. And let me tell you, the bolstering plus the bolstering duration change, it's fantastic. Like, I mean, you
Yeah.
are no longer checkmated by this affix, which is
It's actually
really
comparable
nice.
to other affixes. Finally,
I will
it
say-
might still be a little bit harder, but
there's now a new movement among the guildies of mine that I've been doing keys with that's like, okay, actually the real problem was explosive all along.
explosive
gotta-
is also way better than it used to be.
Yeah, at least they die in one shot, but I will say, like, I still think too many explosives spawn in big pools. I don't know.
Probably fair. I also think that bolstering is still one of my least favorite affixes to play because it's.
I
But
don't
it
even
is
mind
a
anymore.
lot better.
Like,
It is a lot better. Maybe
I've just been
this could
chain
be
pulling
old
and just,
confirmation
like,
bias.
The mobs get 2 bolster stacks at the start of the next pull, and then it disappears 15 seconds into the pull, and like, okay, that pulls harder at the start, like, but I can
That's fair.
I can just use defensive, right, and it's fine. So I'm
I still treat it the same. Like I still try to pull equal health mobs and not chain as much, but like being able to pull into bosses, excellent, 100% better already. And then like if someone butt pulls a mob, you can just like see it and run away for 15 seconds and wait it out. It's not a world-ending occurrence anymore.
Yeah, it is. It's so much better. Okay, Solia's Gambit. Let's talk real quick about Solia's Gambit because we talked a little bit about Streets of Wonder. So I think the consensus on Streets of Wonder is, in addition to being difficult because it's new and difficult because the scaling's gone up, I think that's the harder of the two Tazavesh Tazavesh's.
100%.
Because
People definitely don't know the route for that dungeon, but the bosses, especially like the Menagerie Wing boss with the triple boss thing, I think that people are very bad at that boss. Same with the final encounter of the instance. Also, I heard some rumors that there was some weird shit with explosive on the last boss of Streets.
They fixed that. They
Oh, they did? Okay.
Well, another boss though, the Menagerie boss, the golem that dies and
They haven't fixed that
spawning
yet.
orbs.
Yeah.
Every time he spawns an explosive, he like stands up for a second, spawns the explosive, and then falls back over dead. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they the last boss doesn't spawn explosives anymore because it would spawn explosives that you couldn't target but would damage you if they were opposite sides of the barrier, the wind wall thing. Yeah.
That's annoying.
So Solia's Gambit is 3 bosses instead of 5, and there's not really too much dungeon there. Like, it's much shorter, right? It's 30-minute timer, which means I think the timer is fairly unforgiving if you're pulling one pack at a time and you have like anything go wrong, but there's not too much. Like, it's a short dungeon, right? 3 bosses.
Yeah. I mean, it feels
Last boss.
about right compared to other keys as far as timer goes for me. Maybe it's because I've just done it a few times. Like, I've done it 4 or 5 times probably. But yeah, the last boss is pretty hard. That's a long boss too.
Yeah, last boss. The fact that last boss heals from 40 to 100, like that last phase, actually, it takes a really long time. But it's not. The thing about Solia is phase 1 is the hard phase, and then like once you make it to phase 2, it feels a lot safer to me than phase 1 does. I don't know.
I think so too. I'm not sure if that's correct, just because we've been lusting on pull on that boss. Because I'm not sure. We got to try lust both ways to really make a judgment. But I think you're right. And they lowered the damage of the collapsing star by a lot. Like, that was extremely scary on 15 on PTR.
I think that dungeon in particular is an issue of like the beginning of the raid instant, or the beginning of that dungeon instance is very difficult if you're not playing with like a coordinated group. Plus, people haven't really seen that trash a lot, and so you can lose a lot of time there. But once you start really CCing those Murlocs correctly, you know the correct packs to pull, at least from like a meta strategy wise. You're not going over count a ton. I think that timer in there is really lenient.
I don't know. I mean, 30 minutes it's not that long, right? To do, you got 3 bosses, and then you got, what, like 6 Murloc pulls, 4 Pirate pulls, 5 pulls before Solia. I mean, it depends on how much you're combining those pulls, but like, I don't know. If you look at the statistics, at least on old Raider.io. So okay, here's M plus timed runs leaderboard, right? We got 20 spires, 20 top, 20 halls, 20 mists. If we go to Gambit, we've got 16s timed. We don't have anything higher than a 16 timed in this dungeon. And if we go to Streets, we've got 15s timed. We don't have 16s there. So
Yeah,
like,
Streets is so tight.
So Leah's Gambit is
There's like 6 15s timed or something.
yeah, it's better than Streets in the statistics, but it is still, 4 Keystone levels harder than the other ones. But a lot of that's familiarity. Which
I think that is correct. Yeah.
Once the familiarity gets added, that you'll see the Tazavesh dungeons shoot up by a lot. But I still do think that the timer is like I don't know. This is still only 10% under timer. The top run of this dungeon right now, like that's fairly tight run.
True. Yeah,
this is,
I think we're all right to an
is
extent.
the meta comp, right? Basically, except no Prop Valley, right?
Oh, there's no warrior in there.
Yeah, true. There's warrior here.
Your warrior's so good right now in like every situation.
Yeah. Okay. Side note: Is Guardian True gonna be S tier? Like, dude, that tank does. I'm pretty sure Bear is about to do just the most fucking damage with their 4 set. I don't know.
Only in CDs.
I saw.
I mean, you can't really judge any change of your opinion this week because nobody has any tier or legendaries, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking just in regards to like, I know that they're going to start running Legacy of the Sleeper instead of the Thrash Shield Legendary. I feel like they're about to do the most damage, but we'll see. I saw a clip of a Guardian Druid doing 400k the first pull in Necrotic Wake, and that seemed illegal.
Is that with set bonus? Yeah.
You gotta understand too, like the Venthyr, he was running Venthyr, Bear, with IQD, another DPS trinket. I think it was like a stat stick just for more damage. You know, he was getting Kyrian Druid buffed in that clip, I think, as well.
It was a different clip, but yeah.
Oh, really? I don't know. Like the Venthyr Druid thing alone is kind of a meme. Like you're so weak outside of CDs, people won't actually run that in high keys, so it's just a sim kind of deal.
Okay. They are gonna look. I think that build is legit for raid though.
Yeah, true. Could be good for raid.
We'll see.
All right. Let's do. I guess the last thing to talk about is just what to do this week. Is really just like fill out your Great Vault with the 8 keys. In M+, is there's value to that. There is also some value to doing every dungeon and getting score from it, too. If you want to upgrade all the way up to 272, you want 2,500 score next week, which means you're going to want an average of 15 on both Tyrannical and Fortified in each dungeon. So if you're missing several dungeons, that's not really going to be realistic next week. So doing every single unique dungeon will also get you doing the total of 8, but you'll do 2 bonus ones on top of that. And that will set you up well. So what I'm doing personally this week is I'm trying to just do each dungeon once on my main to set up to be able to do those upgrades. And once I get that done, then I'll maybe I'll target a couple dungeons. But I'm gonna wait to like spam one dungeon until next week because the item level goes up then, and I'd rather get it at that high item level.
I think the play is if you can do this, if you have a good enough group, is to do all 15s this week and like maybe 2 or 3 18s.
And then next week, get ahead on score.
Yeah, so on Tuesday of the next week, you can actually get KSM before raid if you have the time. I did this last year where I just did a bunch of 18s on Tuesday and just fully upgraded a piece right before raid.
Whew.
And that was a good spot to be in for sure.
That is extremely good if you have like Tuesday off and you can just jam keys until raid. Or Wednesday off, I guess, for our European friends. Anyways, speaking of friends, let's go to the thanking of the patrons bit of the podcast now, and then if any Q&A questions have shown up in chat or whatever, we do them then. Otherwise, we'll just be out for the end of the week. So, anyways,
if you guys have any questions, post them in chat.
Yeah, post them in chat now. We might lift a couple of them. And for those that are turning off the show now, again, we're taking off the next 2 weeks probably. So
yes, maybe 3.
Maybe
it depends.
We'll see. Yeah, probably. Things are fluid. We'll see when we're able, but expect no shows for a little while. But there will be a lot of content, Race to World First content, that you can find at least from me and Tettles on like GG WoW channel, Wowhead and stuff. So do stay tuned for that. It's gonna be exciting. Anyways, the patrons who make the show possible, thanks so much to them for the continued support. We have Paul. When Tettles inevitably forgets to update the names, does it mean it's Nyx's birthday forever? I love Surge and Stitch Flash. I love Surge and Stitch Flash progression in a +11. Oh. Oh no.
Oof.
Dude, I love how Stitch Flash can hook the abominations can hook the encrypted mobs.
The sniper like spawns and then teleports right as he's hooking.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss that hook.
Dratnos' Dino Pillow, Chromed, Trekkie, Nevernude, Chewy. Why are we doing normal raid if +15s are dropping 255 gear? Tier sets. Delete Gaming. It's not AMZ, it's AMZ. Salty Senny, Necris, Tankdill, Nevuk, Brad Ceratops, Sinmora, Eevee, Survival Main, No Trick, I Scheduled a Tettles Flame, Dymat, Lufer, Nyx, Rygalon D's, Classic Tettles Trolling, Gallic, Brusif, Dratnos Arts Abyss. I've discovered a new M+ skip. Skipping 9.2. See you next X-Pack. Fair enough. See you next X-Pack.
See ya.
M-Sanity, Xena. Rogue is now good enough for Prague, still bad enough to be sat for SLG. Bless up. Red Color, youtube.com/workbringer, Alphabet Soup, Druid Friends of Evolved Gaming, #1 Simpsky for Trelsky, 1 hour and 30 minutes in a Pug Spires 16. Doesn't make Chloric happy. A lot of my guildies have been doing those like 2 hour long struggle sessions. That's been rough, apparently. Lurka thinks we can do better. Remember, Lurka, you lose 5 seconds off the timer each time you die.
The Lurka arc has been great.
Dude, I rewatched. Do you remember that clip of the Spires like 18 done by that like Korean group that went 12 hours long?
Yeah.
Where they like they killed it and just the chat was like full I was here spamming. Is so hype. I got flamed for not interrupting an Arathi base in Comp Stomp. Milk. Benil, aka YOLO Swag Crew. Looking forward to running 300 Vault of the Warden M Plus to see maybe a single faulty countermeasure. When's Legion Time
When
Walking?
is that? It's mid. Is it early April?
April?
I think it's early April.
God, I hope it is far in the future, so it does not matter for progression.
It is during Prague. No. It is during our progression still.
Oh, damn it.
Sifei, Pone, Windwalker monks deal with nerfs by rolling with the punches. Wonder, and due to balance changes, Skelly is enhanced this tier.
Congratulations on your promotion.
Very nice this tier, yeah.
That is an 11 out of 11 gamer right there.
All right, Q&A time. Our first question comes from Call Me Critical, who says, does anyone know how getting tier from Mythic Plus slots actually works? We don't know, but our current guess is that it's a 6% chance per slot in the Mythic Plus row to get a Great Vault or a tier piece. That's from some testing on PTR that Squishy did. He kept copying a character with one M plus spot 200 times, and 6% of the time he got a tier piece from the M plus slot. It will be the same item level as whatever that slot was going to be. So it'll just.
And I think it's just like an actual Mythic Plus item, but it's just got the tier bonus attached to it, right?
It is the tier set, like the named tier piece with the same stats. Like all Brewmaster Glove tier will always have the same stats. Although it can have tertiaries. The helmets can have sockets as well. And apparently they can be Valor or Conquest upgraded if you get them from the M plus or PvP rows respectively, which is interesting. Although if the M plus ones, presumably you can't Valor upgrade them above 272, so you'd still want to get the 278 ones if you can from the plus 15s.
Also, they made a blue post saying that you're going to have a higher chance of getting tier gear if you kill tier bosses from the raid. So that may be higher than the 6% number.
There's a higher chance in the raid row. The raid Great Vault pieces will have a higher chance of dropping tier from bosses you've killed on that difficulty. So those will probably be the most likely place that you'll find tier, but the M plus and PvP rows, our current guess is 6% per slot. And also, next week's vault will not be able to contain shoulders or chest, because those are from Ragalon and Lords of Dread, which weren't available this week. So that answers the next question as well, which is, will Raid Vault drop tier even though you haven't killed any tier bosses? The answer is yes, you can get tier from, we think at that 6% number from any slot in the Great Vault, and then it goes up to some unannounced number in the raid row if you've killed the tier bosses to drop those tier pieces. So who knows what the odds are on that, but that's the current understanding of how it works.
God, I hope I get a tier piece so bad. I'm not doing PvP. I'm just praying.
Good luck. Yeah, that'll be the best. You get tier off of people that get tier off of a 1 vault and then get to link it to their 9 vaulters who missed.
Ooh, that's called tilter.
If you get tier off of 1 vault and link it to me, I'm blocking you.
I'm gonna try and get some 1 vaults on some of my just random other characters just to do that to you.
This is just as cringe as whenever you that weapon on that paladin.
The socketed Gatiku week 1 out of my vault.
God,
yeah, that was nice. I went to the bathroom and Tettles deleted it or sold it.
Deserved.
Yeah. All right, that is the end of our show this week. Again, no show for the next couple weeks, probably 2 weeks, but could be 1, could be 3. Stay tuned to the Twitter, join the Discord if you want to find out for sure, or just stay subscribed to the feed and see when the next episode pops up. I hope everybody enjoys the raid. Hope everyone enjoys the Race to World First, and see you next time.
See ya. Good luck.
Another question in chat, even though the show's over. Would you take a normal raid tier over 278? Hell yes. I'm taking it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I value my raid more than I value the slightly larger upgrade.
It's a bigger upgrade for you to get the normal tier piece. It's not.
Well, I think in that case, what you do is you leave it in the vault for the Tuesday, and then you go do farm real quick, and then you choose it after farm, right?
You want it before so you can trade.
You could do that boss on heroic first. And if you get the tier piece from heroic, then you don't take the normal because it doesn't help, right? But you'd want to take that tier before you did the normal boss to be able to trade it if it did drop. But
okay, if it was a normal item though, and you're doing heroic first,
Okay.
Then
Yeah,
you
but-
leave in your vault.
Yes.
You would almost never see a normal item in a situation where you were doing heroic first though from your vault, so it's a bit of a weird situation to hypothetical to do. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that even for your own player, for the next like 2 months, you'll be more powerful if you take tier over just random 278s. The only thing that
true.
might be better, like if there's a 278 weapon and you're a weapon class,
scale
then-
or something.
yeah, even scale, like 272 scale is not that much worse, and you can get that. But
Yeah,
like,
I
Yeah.
wouldn't take scale even if it was. I mean, if it was like scale with leech, I might be really tempted.
yeah.
But otherwise,
As the DPS player in your guild, I'm sure your guild would love the fact that you took a
they'd
fucking
be so mad at me.
Yeah, they've
took a
I
fucking
mean,
scale week
you
one.
brewmastered your vault as well. You didn't windwalker it. Oh my god. So
Actually, just
unethical.
grief the shit out of your guild.
Yeah.